Hi guys, and welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look at how we can use web data forms to create a headless content management system. So before we go any further, let's take a look and see what a headless content management system actually is. So I search on Google, it tells me it's a backend only web content management system that acts primarily as a content repository. So I think the keywords here are, content uh, and a management system. So not just that, you have content. Content can be in a database, but there's also a management system. How you manage that content, that plays a part. And then the other important part is that there's no front end. I mean, it's data. You can access it via an API, and you're free to do whatever you want with it. You can build multiple front ends to leverage that same data, or you can use it for other purposes. But the bottom line is it's a backend only system that stores your content, and it also has some management capabilities built in. Let's take an example of something that you may use a headless content management system for. So I'll head over to this blog. I'm sure everybody's seen blogs. This is the FieldWire blog, and as you can see, this is the main page for the blog, or the home page for the blog. And there's a bunch of summaries here. So summarized blogs. There's an image. There's a title, date, and a little bit of content, and then there's a link that you can click and read the whole article or the whole blog. So obviously all this data can be stored inside a content management system, and then taking it a step further, let's say I actually click on that. Let's look at the actual blog. So again, we have a title here, we have the author's name, we have a date, we have an image here, and then the content of the blog itself. So all this can be put into a content management system, and if you put it into a headless content management system, you can use an API and get all this data and create a front end for it. A lot of times something like this, like blogs or something, may be managed by a non-technical team. So for example, in a company, it may be the marketing team, for example, that handles the content of the blogs, etc., etc. And they're non-technical, and they have no idea how to put this content into into the back end, and etc., etc. So if you have a back end, like I mentioned previously, like a management system, a content management system, then you can create a user-friendly UI for them to enter this data. So for example, if they wanted to create a new blog, there would be a form they would go to create a new blog, right? And then even if they wanted to configure this home page, there could be a form which they could use to configure this home page. For example, which article needs to show up first, second, third, etc., etc., and which articles should show up on the home page, and articles or blogs, and which ones shouldn't. So that sort of thing is all configuration, it's all data, and it can all be managed in the back end, and you can make this data available or a UI available to non-technical teams so that they can enter this data, and they can and then this data can be used, and then it takes the control out of the hands of technical teams and gives it to the appropriate department or people or person that should be running this. So today, like I said, we will be taking a look to see how we can leverage web data forms to create a headless content management system. And we will try to recreate something like this. So like we'll create a form which we'll have access to through an API, which will have the homepage content. We'll have the summaries of the articles or the blogs that we want to show. And then we'll also create a form or a data template for the blog itself. So, new blogs can be created without any intervention from, the dev or the technical teams. Okay, so let's start by creating a data template for the blog itself. So we'll need a data template that can, that'll contain a title, author, date, maybe the main image, and then the content. So let's get started. I'll go back to my Acme Construction account and then click on Data Templates. And then before we go any further, let's stay organized and create a new folder here. And I'm going to call it CMS for Content Management System. And then I'm going to create another folder inside that, and I'm going to call it blog. Okay, and then the actual forms or the data templates will reside under this folder. So let me go here and then say create a new data template. Okay, we will be calling this, let's call it blog page content. We are going to leave that active. Visibility needs to be private. We don't want anybody in the general public accessing this form, just the designated people. And then because you will have multiple blogs, it needs to be multi-submission. We are also going to check that box here just to make sure that we have access via API to this data template. Okay, so let's start by dragging a text field here, and we're going to call it title. And the validations, I'm going to set it as required. I'm going to set a minimum length of 2, maximum length of, let's say, 200, and I'm going to save that. Another thing that we had over there is the author. So let's add the author here. Author, and again, I'm going to say, let's set it to required, minimum length of 2, and a maximum length of, let's say, 50. We don't want this to be too big. We also had a date field. So what we'll do is, let's pick this component, the date component, and let's go to validation. So we require the day, require the month, and require the year. And I think that should do it. And then we probably need something for the main image. So let's click on the URL component here and drag that in here. And then let's say main image URL. And this is going to be a URL, obviously. And in the validation, let's set it to required. Again, let's set a minimum length of 2, should probably be more anyways, but at a maximum length of, let's say, 300. URLs can get long. Okay, let's save that. Now we have a place to put our title, author, date, and I want to change that. I don't want to call it day. Let's change that to date. Save that, and then I guess the last part is for the for that summary or that little write-up, the short write-up. Or actually, this is the blog page, so not the summary, but the actual blog. So we need something that can be used to put all the content of the blog itself. So let's go and click on basic here, click on text area, drag that, and call it blog content. I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to I want to use like a WYSIWYG editor for this, so I'm going to click on that editor drop down here, and I'm going to select CK editor, and as you can see, it's a WYSIWYG editor. So you can you can format your text here. You can do a whole bunch of stuff, and it'll all be in HTML format. So if you bolded something, there'll be a bold tag. If you but you don't actually have to write the HTML. You can just use these buttons here or the controls here to actually create the HTML. And in validation, I'm going to set it to required, and then I'm going to keep the minimum length as 2, and the maximum length could be, let's say, 1000. And then I'm going to you see anything else we need to change here? No, I don't think so. I'm going to save that, and that's basically I think all we need. Let's make a little change to this one, because the area, the text area for actually inputting the text is kind of small. So let's go here and in the rows here, I'm going to set it to 20. As you can see, that makes the text area much bigger, and I'm going to save that. So that, there we go. Looks good now. I don't think we need anything else, and if we do, we can come back and change it. So let me save that. Okay, I think I'm done editing this, and let's go take a look at it. Let's see how it actually looks. So if I go to data templates now and go into content management blog, that's my blog page content. And let's say I wanted to add some data to this, wanted to create a blog. I would just go here, click on the add submission button here, or link there, and then this form would show up. As you can see, it's, unless I put the required fields and the form validates properly, it's not going to let me submit the data. Just a quick demo of this. So if I say, let's say I wanted to bold this, I can just click that and make it bolder. If I, we have a different place to set the title, but if I wanted to put like a, let's say a subtitle or something, then I would say and then I could just select that, and I could say, okay, let's make it a heading 2, and then that's how the WYSIWYG thing works, and then it's much easier to create content using something like this. Anyways, so we have this created, and the next step is going to be to create again, now this, let's go back here 1 second, and then and take a look and compare it with with the blog, and see if we covered everything here. So that's the title, that's the author, that's the date, that's the main image, URL, and then the content. So I think main image URL content. Yeah, so I think we got everything. And now, for example, yeah, like we discussed before, if the marketing team wanted to create a new blog, they would just come here and create a new blog. You don't need any technical expertise to create a new blog. You just create it here, submit it, and then that new blog would be created. Okay, in part 2, we will create a data template for the blog summary page and then tie everything together. See you then.